The last time we saw Sister Bertrille go to the fish market with Sister Sisto, they came home with a plan to help Sister Sisto's uncle in a few related tasks. What sorts of shenanigans are going to intrude on their shopping today?
Look, there's Carlos. Hey, maybe after we finish shopping, he'll give us a lift back to the convent in his car.
I wouldn't mind being lifted. It's 3 miles as the crow flees.
No, that's flies. Fleas are those little tiny insects that you find on animals.
I thought those were flies.
Well, they are flies. Yeah. It's very complicated.
The main thing I know about fleas and flies, a flea and a fly and a flew were in prison, so what could they do? Said the flea, let us fly. Said the fly, let us flee. So they flew through a flaw in the flue. Sometimes it takes a little quality time with my friend Philip here to get that just right. I've seen lots of shady foreign spies with mustaches. Haven't seen one with a mustache and doohickeys before.
You know, she looks familiar to me.
I thought she was Charlie Chaplin till she took off her mustache.
She looks familiar because she's a famous movie star.
Sabrina!
It's H.H.
Who?
Harold Harmon, my producer. Come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Sabrina, wait! I have to talk to you! I must talk to you, darling! Sabrina!
That's who it is. It's Sabrina Lewis. Sabrina
Lewis, the
yes.
Oh.
But for once, Carlos isn't having her on the boat for what we might guess. They're old friends.
Oh, I wish I could get a closer look.
You could if you were a good swimmer.
Sister Sisto, why don't you go buy the fish? I'll meet you back here in about 10 minutes.
Where are you going?
To get a closer look.
She'll get a much closer look soon enough, but for now she'll settle for a glimpse from above. Gavin MacLeod never ceases to amaze me. A change in weight can turn some people into someone else. He's one of those. I don't know if he gained a lot of weight for some role around this time or if he lost a lot of weight for The Love Boat. But either way, if you're familiar with him one way, it's sometimes hard to tell it's him when he's the other way. If you want a perfect example of that, check this out. This is from Hogan's Heroes, Season 1, Episode 19, called Hello, Zola. Mr. Zola was a Gestapo agent who specialized in finding ways that prisoners are trying to escape. And yes, that is the same guy as this. You can sort of see it, but not really. Talk about a versatile actor. Those crazy eyes could give me nightmares. Right now, he's not sure he isn't crazy.
What was that?
What's what?
Oh, don't you see?
See, I see. I see you. I see the sea. So what else is there to see? See. Vaya con Dios.
Sometimes Sister Sisto isn't quite as clumsy with English as she lets on. I really enjoy the way our actress makes those things sound so natural. She was born Rachel Matrani, but when she started acting seriously, she changed her name to Shelley Morrison to avoid getting typecast as just another Latino woman. She bopped around for a while after this, doing one-off parts, until 1999 when she made a brief appearance on the hit sitcom Will and Grace. The character was instantly so popular that Rosario the maid became a cast member pretty much on the spot. That clinched her television immortality. She survived 2 kinds of cancer and eventually died of natural causes in 2019. The story? Sabrina is cooling her heels here with Carlos because she's angry at her fiance. She should be. She caught him cheating.
Do you think that that girl meant anything to him? Believe me, she was nothing.
I know Carlos is trying to help, but to me that makes it worse. He considers sex such a casual thing that he'll just toss it around rather than keep it at home with the woman he ostensibly loves. What that tells me is his attitude is cavalier enough that there's 100% chance he'll do it again and again and again. It's the kind of person he is. Run, Sabrina, Run now.
Only because I walked off the picture and he's afraid he might lose the best part he ever had.
Oh, no. That's not what he told me.
He would turn in his mother for a good close-up.
That is an unmitigated lie.
You rat! I might have known.
Sabrina, be reasonable. Sabrina!
All right, there's no land. Swim, Sabrina. Swim now.
Swing her around.
What for?
Oh, to rescue her, what do you think?
Are you kidding? She was a stand-in for Esther Williams.
Esther Williams became famous as a competitive swimmer and diver and spent several years with an aquatic troupe doing things like synchronized swimming. When Hollywood came calling, she starred in several musicals that showcased her in-water talents. Spencer is saying, don't worry about her. She swims better than you or I ever will, and she can keep it up all day. Sister Bertrille doesn't know that.
Do you need any help, Miss Lewis?
She does now. Somehow, Sister Bertrille finagles it so Sabrina can stay at the convent while she recovers.
Reverend Mother, I've been hesitant about telling you this, but I guess it must have been when I was going down for the third time. I had a vision.
A vision?
Yes, a beautiful angel, all in white, descending from the heavens with her arms stretching out to me.
Here we go again. They need to go public with Sister Bertrille's ability, then post a guard at the front gate with a big sign that says no tourists.
The interesting thing is she looked exactly like Sister Bertrille.
Oh, well, isn't that funny?
Yes.
Somewhere out there, there's an angel who looks just like me.
Then that is one gorgeous angel. Sorry, I can't help myself.
Do you know something? You remind me of my Reverend Mother.
You're... Miss Lewis, you were a nun?
But of course. Didn't you see me in the cross and the fire?
We'll learn very quickly that these roles are her life, and she sometimes has trouble separating those personas from who she actually is. There's a good reason for that. She's gotten so used to being a movie star that she doesn't know who she really is anymore.
Where did you come from, exactly? I don't remember seeing your boat.
Well, I wasn't in a boat.
You were swimming that far out to sea?
Not exactly, but sort of. Anyway, it was nice. I was in the neighborhood.
Nicely handled, sister.
These flowers that your fiance sent you are just gorgeous.
If I know him, he probably charged them to the studio.
She's not letting him off the hook. He calls multiple times a day, and she won't talk to him. She's still convinced the part is all he really cares about.
You have no idea what my life is like. I'm so alone.
With all these friends?
Friends! Parasites, you mean. People who are only interested in what they have to gain. Oh, I'd rather have a single wildflower, tendered by the hand of a simple peasant, than all of this gaudy display.
Wow, that almost made Sister Bertrille swoon.
It was just like watching one of her movies.
Sister Bertrille, that was from one of her movies.
What?
The one about the queen who gives up her throne.
This is what I mean. We talk in movie, TV show, and song lines around my household all the time, but we all know that's what it is, and we know the difference between those lines and real life. We're not always happy that such a difference exists, but it does, and we know where the dividing line is. I'm not so sure about Sabrina.
In the week that followed, Sabrina Lewis really threw herself into the spirit of convent life, as she saw it, in Panavision and Vistascope.
This is also what I mean. Everything is a role to her. It's automatic for her to become whatever she thinks the people watching want to see.
When, to be hospitable, Reverend Mother invited her to say grace, Sabrina eagerly accepted.
Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
When she didn't like the food, she cried, "Oh, the pain of it all!" As Sister Jacqueline said, she's really into it. I suppose the next step was inevitable.
Sister Bertrille, I would like you to be the first to know. I have decided to become a nun.
Is she willing to give up makeup? I'm not so sure about that. We can often see that our nuns are wearing theatrical, what they call corrective makeup, but that's necessary. It's the nature of the beast. Under the lights they use for filming, eliminating unwanted shadows and all the rest, bare skin pretty well becomes so transparent you can practically see right down to the bone. That's why it's called corrective makeup. It's used to keep that from happening so every show doesn't look like a bad horror film. I've seen stage productions where they even had to put it on their hands and arms. Sabrina is a different matter. We saw the way she was fidgeting with her hair, and you know she's also making sure her lashes are in place and her lipstick is just so. Can she let all that go? She's rather proud of that hair. Can she live with keeping it covered 24/7? Sister Bertrille quizzes her a little about this, and she's still thinking inside the movie box.
I'm afraid the decision isn't entirely up to you. You can petition, but you have to be accepted, and you might not be.
With my credits.
They count for what in terms of giving up everything and serving God with your whole being? She really doesn't get it. When Sister Bertrille mentions the Reverend Mother interviewing her, she says, "Piece of cake. I'm great at interviews."
As a matter of fact, I was given a Golden Apple Award by the press for being the most cooperative.
I'll assume that's a good thing. She wants to know what sorts of questions the Reverend Mother will ask. Sister Bertrille tries to answer as best she can, and there's a wonderful scene where she's doing an impression of the Reverend Mother. Unfortunately, it was too long to get past the box, and I had to cut it. It's worth finding the episode just for that. And despite all Sister Bertrille's efforts to explain what's involved, Sabrina still thinks this is a magazine interview to plug a movie.
Reverend Mother wisely decided to grant Sabrina an interview, and Sabrina made her pitch. Oh, petition. On film, Sabrina's performance would have been a cinch for the Academy Award for Best Actress in a Starring Role.
And that's the problem. She's still acting whether she realizes it or not. I can picture her if one of the children comes up to her and says they don't feel good. "Hark, little one, fear not, for I shall transport you at once to our faithful and dedicated physician for proper medical care. Let us away!"
But Reverend Mother withheld her vote.
Miss Lewis, you present a very good case. And I respect your feelings, for I'm sure they come from deep within you. But you have been through a difficult period, and I am going to suggest that you reflect a little while longer, and so will I.
And Reverend Mother knows she's still acting. She didn't get where she is by being naive.
A nun?
A nun.
What kind of a nun?
A nun.
How many kinds are there? There's the kind that lives and acts like a nun. If you know of a different kind, please enlighten us. Harold isn't about to let this go.
And when I told her they were suing her for $2.5 million, she raised her head, her eyes flashed, and she said, "So what?"
I wonder what picture that was from.
I don't know, but to start a suit, they're going to have to serve her with papers, and it's up to us to protect her.
Before anybody knows it, they've turned away 3 process servers. But Harold has come up with a devious plan to get past the sisters.
He's sending an actor from the company up to the convent.
What's so clever about that?
Dressed as a priest.
2 years ago, Carlos wouldn't have cared. Today, he has serious ethical problems with this whole thing. He doesn't think suing Sabrina will do what they want, and he's sure doing something this shady is just wrong.
Sister, all night I wrestled with my conscience, and I finally decided I couldn't tell you. But I decided that at least I have to tell you I can tell you. So all I'm going to tell you is, be careful.
What?
I just told you I can't tell you.
Eventually, he'll let the word priest slip out, and his job is done here. Cue the case of mistaken identity that we all know is coming. With shows like this one, it was never a question of if it'll happen. It's a matter of when and how well it's done.
When is Reverend Mother returning?
Well, who is it?
Father Duffy. He says he's an old friend of hers from the mainland.
Well, just tell him
Wait a minute. Maybe that's him.
Him who?
The process server.
He's only here for a few hours, and Reverend Mother won't be back until late. He asks if he can come see the place anyway, and they say, "Oh, sure you can." They'll have a nice reception for him.
I've heard so much about Santango.
Oh, have you?
I've also heard that you have a famous actress staying here with you.
Yes, I bet you have.
Would you like to meet her, Father?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I would. You see, I've always been quite a fan of hers.
He doesn't realize it, but he's not helping his case any. Down at the waterfront, Carlos has found the fake priest.
I'm telling you, you will regret it.
I appreciate your feelings, but if I don't go up there and serve that summons, I'm an out-of-work actor.
The sisters are very clever. You might not fool them.
That's hardly likely. I played priests in 5 pictures, a bishop twice. Once I even played a rabbi.
Bill Quinn has one of those faces that makes you sit up and realize you know him from somewhere. It'd be more accurate to say you know him from everywhere. He started acting at age 6 and never stopped. He was another of those character actors that we talk about a lot, and he was one of the best in the business. We saw him most recently in Land of the Giants, but he had guest spots on just about every show that appeared from the day television was invented to the day he died in 1994 at the age of 81. He won't have much to do here because Carlos just told him that the sisters are on to him, and if he goes through with this, he'll probably be arrested and prosecuted for it. He doesn't want to be a working actor that bad.
That's funny. I wonder why Sister Estella thought Miss Lewis was up here. Oh, but you must see our view from here. It's quite breathtaking.
It has quite an impact, yes.
That's one way of putting it. It hasn't occurred to him to wonder what reason Miss Lewis would have for being up here. He should have thought of that.
My goodness.
On a clear day, you can see St. Thomas.
Is that a fact?
Yes, if you just get up a little bit higher.
Oh, yes. I can see why you're so proud.
Let me rephrase. He should have thought of that before they brought him up here. They're just getting warmed up, but because of runtime limitations, they'll only have time for a couple more pranks, culminating in this.
Thank you. Oh, Miss Lewis,
Have you all gone mad?
Oh, Reverend Mother, how glad I am to see you.
Since telling them both we thought he was a process server in disguise sounds beyond absurd, Sister Bertrille will just apologize and not bother trying to explain it.
Perhaps you're right, Reverend Mother. I don't deny that I may have a tendency to over-dramatize things a bit. But I just can't get over the feeling that I was called here.
Therein lies the problem. Some folks came to my door one day a long time ago to give the pitch for their religion, and I decided to engage them a little and hear their pitch. The first thing this guy said was, "You can tell when something is true by how it makes you feel, isn't that right?" And I said, "No, that feeling could be God or it could be the spicy pizza I had for lunch. Feelings are no guide to truth at all." The way he reacted, you'd have thought I told him his head was on upside down. It blew his whole pitch so bad he never did recover and finally begged off without finishing. Feelings matter. Emotions matter. They can make or break an entire life and either make it well worth living or make it feel like the worst thing in the world. They can't tell you what's true and what isn't. Acknowledge your feelings, then verify, which is exactly what Reverend Mother is going to do.
Miss Lewis, would you come here a moment, please? Is that the vision that you saw? Sister Bertrille! I hope that will help you resolve your conflict.
I repeat, acknowledge your feelings, then verify that your vision was a question of aerodynamics, not divine communication. Speaking of communication, Spencer's on the phone again. This time she'll talk to him.
Hello, Spence. Oh, darling, how are you? Spence, listen, I've got something to talk to you about. I have the greatest idea for a picture. Peter Pan in a nun's habit. Is that wild?
I know Peter Pan is usually played by a woman, but he's supposed to be a boy, so unless he's in witness protection, I'm not sure how that would work out. And it's just as well that she's gotten over the idea of becoming a nun. She could never handle the fashion choices. I haven't seen very many nuns' habits that are color coordinated to match the Reverend Mother's drapes. If you enjoyed this, please click the like button to let me and YouTube know you want to see more. If you're not subscribed yet, punch me in the mask here and get signed up so you don't miss a thing, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Oh, stay here. Oh, what is with you? When Hollywood came calling, she starred once to our faithful and dedicated physician for proper medical care. Let us get some air. Today, he has a... He doesn't think suing Sabrina for... Oh, sure you can. They'll have a nice reception for him.